course, all the noisy things come by.
Well, main stage just finished, but there's still a helicopter because we can't have nice audio. But welcome everybody to a very special live-ish episode of I Love This, You Should Too. My name is Indy Photo Pit Randhawa, and with me is my lovely but slow-walking co-host. It's Samantha Bootscootin' Boogie Randhawa.
I wonder how many times people are gonna make that joke to me. Oh, because I have a high ankle sprain, and I am in a walking boot, and I have a knee scooter.
But we are here at the Calgary Folk Music Festival, and it's our live-ish episode. But we're not going to explain so much. We're here all 4 days, and we're going to talk all about it. So let's get right into things. And first thing, we opened up seeing Elisa P.
Yes, and we were so lucky to be able to see her from the photo pit, and she was incredible. I may have gotten a little, emotional in the photo pit while she was singing. She was just a fantastic show. She had some really beautiful ribbons.
So many outfits, and we always have outfit talk, but this may be outfit of day one. It's tough to say, but this was a great performance. We've seen her before, and we've talked about her for quite a while. This was a lot of fun because I don't think a lot of people knew her. And you could see people being won over very, very quickly. She started off with a few songs from Inuktitut, and she was talking about her thinking behind that of preserving a language through making it accessible by doing covers of popular songs. And you saw that happen because you saw everyone go, oh, this is Heart of Glass. Yeah. And you could see what she was trying to do working, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it really brought people in, and it allowed her native language to be spoken and appreciated by other people, which is exactly what we need to be doing.
And after that was Michael Kiwanuka. Oh, no.
Just kidding.
You know that I was very excited to see him. I think he's ill, but he couldn't make it. But there was a last-minute fill-in, and when I heard that it was Arrested Development, I was like, wait, Mr. Wendell Arrested Development? And everyone said, I don't know what you're talking about. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
But for those of you that were listening to hip-hop in, I think that was 92 that came out, right around then, you know Arrested Development, so we got to see them. And for me, of course, it was a little trip down memory lane to my 10-year-old self, but to a lot of other people, they were new. It was new to them. And especially for a hip-hop act, they translate well because they have dancers, they have multiple singers, they have musicians, and a lot of live instrumentation. So I think for people who weren't familiar with them, this was a good act to see.
Yeah, they were so high energy. They were such great performers. They had two women in their front, the front of the stage, and they were just dancing it up and singing it up, and they were just so dynamic to watch.
Then we rushed over because we only caught the first half of that, so we could see the second half of Empanadas Ilegales. And that's another one we were excited to see. Sam's not in the dancing capabilities currently, but I think this was one that we wanted to get up and dance.
I was moving my shoulders. definitely can't get up and dance as much as I would want to, but I was moving around as much as I could. So they were fantastic. It was such a great performance as well.
Only one day in, but that was clearly the biggest dance pit. Because like how do you not dance to that music?
Absolutely, yeah. And then we stayed at the national stage and we just saw the Heavy perform, and they were fantastic. They sound quite a bit different from their album, and their female lead singer is just like incredible. She was just belting it out. She was doing so much dancing and belting and keyboard playing. She was so busy.
It's fun seeing bands well, I guess we did see them live, but even this sounded different than that.
I was going to say, this sounded so different from when we saw them last year in Edmonton.
Won't you go down river with me? Walking to heaven. Don't look back. 'Cause I'm no fool, babe. I'm your man. I'm no fool, babe. I'm your man.
We saw them live, and yeah, they've changed quite a bit, or at least maybe it's just the scale of things this time. But what Samantha was talking about, I definitely agree with, because I don't know all the names of the band members, but they're the female lead vocalist. She sounds great on all of the albums, but when you're in a live performance like this, maybe there's more freedom to try different things.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of singers who show you everything they can do to like, look at all these things I can do,
Yeah.
but she doesn't on an album. She sings in the style that best suits the music, and then when you see her live, you're like, oh, you can do so much more,
Yeah.
but you rein it in for the sake of it's more cohesive to the sound they're
levels,
making.
yeah.
And then they did a cover of Texas Sun, the Leon Bridges Crying Ben song, and that was fun too, because I like covers because it allows someone to reinvent something in their style, and this was a good mix of, I could tell what song it was, but they took it a very different way, and I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was definitely something that I didn't know I needed to see, but it was like really well done. And yeah, she's just doing the most, and I really appreciate it.
Also, special shout out to one of their guitar players, well, to the whole band, but this one guitar player, again, sorry, I don't know his name, but he doesn't sing, and he does everything else, because there were times where he would be reaching around her to play part of the keyboard and then going back and forth on the guitar, and then working with the two keyboards and switching in and out of playing guitar in the same song.
Yeah.
Having a hand on the guitar and a hand on the keyboard, that was nuts.
I've never seen someone play guitar and keyboard at the same time. Never mind 2 keyboards and a guitar.
It was very impressive, but we had good weather for day one. We are being eaten alive by mosquitoes right now.
I'm currently fanning in order to make the air move so the mosquitoes can't land.
Day one, a success?
Total success. I'm really excited for tomorrow.
And we have to make a special thanks, because we always thank all of the volunteers because they do a lot of good work. But Stacy specifically is who we've been working with. And what a delight. She hugged Sam as soon as she saw her, because they've been emailing and feel like old friends now.
Yeah. Being greeted at the festival gate with a hug by the head of media is pretty cool. And they have done absolutely everything that they could do to make sure that we were comfortable and happy and we knew what we were doing. And yeah, so thank you to the entire media crew, because everyone's been great. They've been scheduling us for things for later in the festival. And yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow.
let's go to tomorrow right now. All right, now it is time to recap a very rainy, pretty great day two. This is the part of the festival where I think everything is just the best because a lot of it was today.
Today was, it poured rain, and Indy is wetter than I am, but it's been a soggy day, and we've seen some incredible music. And we are going to start with our interview with Dengue Fever. Hi, everyone. So we are getting to do an interview with one of Indy's picks of the festival, Dengue Fever, and we are here with Zach and Paul, and we're going to have a little chat with them.
I think I've been listening to you guys for about 20-ish years, but you've been playing for even longer than that. It's a specific thing you started out doing. Did you imagine that you'd have this kind of longevity, and what has kind of led to that kind of longevity?
No, I did not think that we were going to be together. You never know. I mean, when people are the average life of a band is probably like 6 months, 2 years. Okay. So if a band even puts out an album or even starts recording, that's like a good thing. That's like, yay. Yeah, we just had so much fun at our first show that we were like, let's do this again. And then like the people who came to see us kind of felt the same way too. So it just kind of kept building and building. My friend Trace Spruance from Mr. Bungle, he was like, dude, you guys should record a record and I'll put it out on my Web of Mimicry label. And so that was like our beginning.
And then you knew him from Dieselhead?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that starting off with something that was not exactly current, not trendy, does that help it be more timeless, that you can continue on with that?
I don't know if there's a formula necessarily. I think that more likely the band kind of has a bit of a staying in the moment personality. I think that allows some longevity, meaning that we're not meeting expectations that we set. We're just having fun with each other. We're a family. We're friends. So from the get-go, we kind of just had the idea of that, just having fun and really trying to kind of appease our musical appetites. Doing that and pleasing yourself allows for longevity, I think.
Yeah, and we never worried about playing what we were supposed to play. Like right from the start, we were all kind of listening to the Ethiopiques, and so we're like, let's cover a Mulatu song. Yeah. And so, that's not a Cambodian tune, but we decided, who cares? We're just going to do whatever we want.
I was a biggest fan of the earlier things, and then I moved around, so I didn't catch up with some of the later stuff until more recently. So is bringing in all of these other influences, because the sound has evolved and changed over years, is that part of keeping it fresh that way?
Yeah, it is. I think what attempts to keep it fresh for us is just trying to be true to ourselves and, again, find things that excite us. Sometimes we're slower, our tempos are slower, have gotten a little slower because we wanted to explore space more. Our earlier records had a little more of a vibrant energy and they were a little more full and a lot of things happening, and we were attracted to opening that up a little and slowing things down and finding the space. And we were playing with that for a while, and who knows, maybe we'll go back to being dense and fast. And but yeah, those are the challenges that keep us going.
So in Long Beach in the 90s, I only know Warren G and Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg, but what I didn't know about was the Cambodia town or Little Phnom Penh. I was just wondering if you could tell us something about that, because it's something I had no idea about.
Yeah, when my brother Ethan plays keys in the band, when we were looking for a singer, we only knew one Cambodian, and all he could say was La Lune, and he was doing some dancing motions. He's like, Long Beach, La Lune. So we started out going to this club called La Lune, and we saw the band and we saw the singers, and we weren't really blown away by them. And then one of the singer's boyfriend tried to sell us a pound of weed, and we kept looking around, and we eventually ended up at Dragon House, which was another club, a bigger club. That's when we saw Nimal singing, and we knew right away that, we need to try to ask her to sing for us.
I didn't know that album title is a reference to that.
Yeah, okay.
That's cool.
So she used to have to perform at the Dragon House on Friday and Saturday nights. So we'd have to like turn down these weekend offers, and we'd only be able to play on like, Thursdays and Wednesdays and stuff. And then finally, when the band started doing a little bit better than, what she was making at the Dragon House, so we titled that album Escape from Dragon House.
That's awesome. I love little stories like that. I didn't know that. I did see that Sleepwalking Through the Mekong documentary. Was that the first time you toured through Cambodia and through Southeast Asia? And what's the reception like there? And have you become more known in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, that was our first time there, first time touring in Cambodia, and it was quite an eye-opener. It was really interesting. It was, I think all of us were nervous. We had a lot invested. We wanted to be liked by the people that originated what we were doing, and we wanted to be respectful. So we had some concerns, but it just really went well. Given the Cambodian people don't go to a lot of concerts, so they tend to just stare if someone's playing, and they don't necessarily know automatically to clap when a song ends. Like that kind of societal training's not there. So they were staring at us in a way that did terrify us at first, and we were like, what's going on? And all they just seemed like they hate us, and she's like, no, they love it. And sure enough, after a concert, they would come up to us, and they had nothing but lovely things to say, and we're very, very happy about us kind of bringing back to the surface this whole era, including the kind of looking at it from a therapeutic angle almost, because what happened during the Khmer Rouge era is just not talked about, and their music was wiped out. Their society was wiped out. To have someone come back and kind of dig into that and pull it out kind of helped some people, at least this is what they told us, kind of helped them open up conversations about that topic. Felt the whole trip was really fulfilling, ultimately.
So Nimal was also nervous about it too. She hadn't been home in a long time, and she's like playing with us, and like there was all these rumors like, Chom Nimal's singing with the Hollywood band, and like, they thought that she was gonna come back all like converted and playing like Western music, or which they didn't know. And so after everyone saw us like, playing their old classic rock hits, she got flooded with phone calls to sing, oh my God, she was like crying. She was so happy, and everyone was so proud of her.
That must just be awesome to bring your culture back to your culture that way. There's been a few artists we've talked about that the music is a way of preserving a history that could be lost otherwise, right? And you're getting people like me who, this was before I'd ever been to Cambodia, and then I start looking into it a bit, right? So I'm taking over anything.
I've got a few questions. They're fun questions. So obviously in the festival environment, you get to play sessions. So dead or alive, what two artists do you want to play a session with?
Jimi Hendrix would be really cool to be jamming with.
Yeah.
Who else would be fun?
I mean, me personally, I would love to be backing David Bowie.
Oh,
that would be a personal high of mine. Or maybe the Meters. Go with David Bowie and the Meters.
Alive, it'd be cool. Like Tom Waits would be fun. He's always down. His music's always kind of changing and evolving. And
so what thing are you really into right now that you'd recommend to somebody if they were looking for? It could be books, could be movies, could be...
Our kind of ethos behind the podcast is bringing something that you love and saying, you should love this, here's why. Samantha got me to start going to folk fests. I got her to start listening to Dengue Fever. And just something that you feel like maybe isn't as exposed as much that people should check out.
We were really lucky and got to tour with that band Tanarwin. So I'm sure you guys probably already know them, though. Yeah. Okay, so that's not too obscure.
It is in the grand scheme of things. I love that.
It's like, oh man, they're like my favorite, and they were so.
I'm gonna go with a book I'm reading that's kind of changed my perspective. I've been talking about it to everyone. They're probably tired of hearing it. Author by the name of Kenny Werner. It's called Effortless Mastery, and it's about how you kind of radiate while you're playing instead of relying on technique. It's more about connecting with everybody and everything, and it's kind of a different angle on playing that I've Like, I've always just kind of thought about technique and that sort of thing, and a little bit about the relationship between audience and musician. But this book has changed my outlook on it, and I think it's a very interesting book.
I feel like this might just be for me, but from earlier influences, is there any either Cambodian or Southeast Asian artists that you could recommend that we check out if people are really into your sound?
Okay, Sinsisamuth, he was one of the main songwriters and musicians and singers in Cambodia, and Rosary Satia, he worked with her a lot, and Pen Ron.
How do you like doing a festival style thing as opposed to just your own show? Like, what are the benefits of that, or how's it different?
Well, the first time we've like shared a stage with other bands and collaborated was at the last 2 weeks ago in Winnipeg at the Winnipeg Folk Fest, and we shared it with Zrada and Las Bitches, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we each kind of did 3 songs, and they went well. They went off in different unexpected directions. Canadian crowd, I think, likes it. They're like it when you kind of are taking chances.
For me, I guess festivals are a little more like a chance to see someone discovering you and watch the look on their face as they're discovering you, or walk away if they don't like it. And at your own show, you're kind of holding communion. Like, that's almost a community, of people who know our music generally. But festivals are a little more of a surprise environment. And sometimes you get to score when you see people just so ecstatic, and they come up to you and talk to you after, and they just never heard about you and weren't expecting to see you, and so that's what festivals provide.
Yeah, we played a festival in Thailand a few months ago, and I'm really glad we got to do it, because now with the border dispute between Cambodia and Thailand, they would not be having us play that festival. And we were thinking, oh man, because Nimal speaks Thai because she grew up in a Thai refugee camp. And we're like, we should do a song in Thai, and it could help us come back to Thailand. That's got to go back on a back burner now.
To the border.
We were talking about it beforehand. I was like, well, we're not going to talk about border disputes, right? That doesn't seem like the thing we'd bring up. And then we got there anyway.
Yeah,
So.
They'll be thrilled.
There's a truck backing up. It's raining, but that's not going to stop us. If you want to hear more about the backstory of Dengue Fever, go 2 episodes back and you can listen to me talk all about them. So thanks again to Zach Holtzman and Paul Smith from Dengue Fever for taking the time to sit down with us. It was a lot of fun. You can tell that I really nerded out on it. But then after that, Samantha needed a much-needed foot rest. So I went and saw a little bit of Emily Wuramara, and she has some very powerful things to say in between songs, but I'm not going to tell you about that. Just go listen to her music, and I was able to catch a bit of that too.
Midnight blues, singing with me, perplexing this too, like midnight blues, singing with me, perplexing this too, midnight blues, midnight blue, I see you too.
And I guess you can hear all sorts of things going on. There's Bad Bad Not Good playing just to the right of us currently, as the rain's pretty much stopped, but it is cold and rainy. It's been a wet folk fest so far.
It's been many years since there's been a folk fest this wet, and I feel unprepared, but happy.
After that, we went to go see something that I'm going to say this a lot today, but very excited to go see, and Bria Salmena. She is probably the album I've listened to most in the last month. Her album, Big Dog. She has some older country stuff that I wasn't as familiar with, but I've been listening to this album a lot, and the show didn't disappoint because she played, I think, 8 songs from that, so she played almost the full album. She played the stuff I liked right off the top, so that was pretty great. It's one of those things where I never know how big someone is until I come here, because I've been listening to it a lot, so then I think like, oh, this must be very popular if I know all the words. And I think she's not that well known, but I think we saw her win some people over in the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she had such a great stage presence, and she was just like, she had everyone like moving in their seats even if they weren't standing. And I have to say, the kindness of people at folk festivals is unmatched, because there was a woman who almost made me sit on her chair and her tarp because of my boot, and everyone's just so kind here, and I just love that.
We did say that you sprained your ankle and you're wearing a boot, right? We talked about that.
We talked about it yesterday, but I'm not sure.
Okay, well that's the context for all of that. Hopefully we'll get to see more Bria Salmena as well. I ran into her just walking by and just went, hey, great show, and kept on my merry way because she probably has things to do, places to be. And next we got to see, you know what, I got to see something that I was looking forward to for since I heard about it. You've heard me talk about Cymande a bunch on a few different episodes, so I'm a very big fan. It's an act that I never thought I'd be able to see live in my life, because they've been around for so long and they broke up so long ago, but now they have a new album and are touring that. And I just had the best time. For the first 3 songs, I got to be in the photo pit, and they did do 2 old ones of those first 3, because I am, of course, a big fan of the first album more than anything, more than like pretty much any album. But the new stuff, I liked it a lot more live than maybe even on the album.
Yeah, it was one that had everyone dancing. I was very thankful to be able to be in the pit, and then I waddled over to the accessible seating and made it just in time before it became a absolute downpour, and Indy was dancing in the rain and just having the best time, and it was such a party.
I think that's accurate. I think I'm not going to sit and dissect why I loved it. I danced in the rain to probably the music that I've listened to the most over the last 4 years. They might be number 1, so that was fantastic to see. Hopefully we can get to see them on some side stages for those sessions coming up as well.
So then the final show of the night, we saw Bad, Bad, Not Good. It was raining again, so we had a hard time with our cameras, but the hardest part was that they turned out all the lights when they started playing.
They have this kind of projector show going on, and I didn't know what to expect from Bad Bad Not Good, because they're pretty well known, but I know them as the band that is in a lot of hip-hop songs. So I know those ones, and to see them do some more like experimental jazz and use all sorts of instruments, and you can tell that these are like those music nerds, these are like musicians, they're those kind of guys, right? It's fantastic. They have a big following, and they're all having a great time as we speak.
Yes. If you hear other music, it's Patrick Watson in the background on main stage. So we're kind of in between both stages, which it was the quietest place we could find.
Well, I think that's it for a rainy and cold Friday night. It feels like we've done so much, but we're not even halfway done. So see you on Saturday. And here we are now on day 3. I was going to say a rainy day 3, but when we last left you, it was very rainy as well. We're halfway through the day, so we are just going to recap a bit.
Yep, we are in the middle of a rain delay, and main stage has just started back up after an hour delay. So I believe Madeleine Peyroux is on right now, and we're waiting to hear how the schedule is going to be effective. But we've had a great day so far. So we had a little bit of a later start, but we saw Jerry Sharif play a concert, and it's kind of an experimental improvised music that he does, and it was really fun. It was really interesting. I think most people who were sitting at that stage didn't really know what to expect, so we sat, and then I really enjoyed it in the end.
I know a lot of that music is harder to get into, and I'd only heard his album, but when he's making experimental, improvisational stuff, you don't know what it's going to sound like, but he brings a lot of jazz to it, and it was like saxophone based, but you could see all the things he was running his saxophone through, which you're probably not used to someone using multiple pedals on a sax, but he could loop it and do fun stuff like that. And then right after that, he joined in on a session, and that was with Bria Salmena, who I talk about a lot, but I don't think I did, because I think I've been talking to you a lot about her music, but I don't think I've said as much on here. But I am a big fan. Tall Trees, who I had listened to a bit before, but really liked what he was doing here, because I didn't realize he's pretty improvisational as well, and was able to kind of play the drums on his banjo and then loop that.
Experimental banjo is how he describes himself, and I was very excited to see what that meant. He used like a violin bow, he used a drumstick, he played it like a banjo. He did so many things, and he made so many noises out of this banjo that I have never heard a banjo make, and I thought it was very cool. He's a one-man band.
And there were times where he actually stopped and like taught his song to everyone, and there was 3 different melodies. Everyone was jumping in on it. That was fun.
Cool, all right, I think we get that. Amazing. Keep going. All right, here's melody B.
And then Jared Sharif was in this as well, and because he has a history of that improvisational stuff, he, I think, took to this the most easily of anybody, because it's what he does. And there was a guy playing with him whose name I'm not sure. I think it was Mustafa, and he played all sorts of instruments, but would always kind of turn his back and kind of hide almost. But there was one song that he wrote that he let everyone in, and that was a lot of fun. And Bria Salmena, who I was talking about before, she did a few songs. She did, I think it was Hammer and Bending Over Backwards. Bending Over Backwards is a song that I really like of hers, and it's very fun to watch a song that you know well and then how that gets reinterpreted from other things. Because a lot of the music I hear here, we're hearing it for the first time, but this was a song I knew, and hearing it with like 2 saxophones and 3 guitars is not something I was expecting to hear, but I really enjoyed that.
That's the magic of a session, is you get all of these good improvisers making musical choices that you don't hear on the recording from the record. And I think that so much of the music that we heard today was transformed with these extra pieces that just kind of joined in, and I think that is a little bit of Folk Fest magic.
And in that same session, we are very excited to see Dengue Fever, who we talked with earlier on the show. They did Sleepwalking Through the Mekong. And then later, I'm not sure if we caught it on the audio, but they said, oh, we're going to do one more song. And I was going, ooku, ooku. And then they did that. So that's always fun.
This next song is called Uku, and it is in E minor. The story of this song is a country woman who is living in a family, and the farming community is becoming struggling and can't afford enough money, so they have to send a woman to the city to make money to send her back home to the family so they can survive.
I was excited to hear some of the songs that I've heard Indy play in our kitchen, and they definitely played some of the ones that I knew, and it was just like so cool to get to see all these musicians work together.
And Zach Holtzman's guitar is in my short list of instrument of the festival. There's been some good ones, but that one's up there.
So cool. I think it was described as a guitar and a Chevy.
Yeah, it's one, I guess, like a friend of his made it for him. I also liked in that one because we were watching them set up, and there's so many things to set up, and when you can see musicians nerding out about stuff, because there was some of that between people who had never really met before, and just talking gear, and I always like seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so cool to get to see them when they're setting up and they're like, ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? And they're like chatting about their instruments and they're chatting about their music. And then we moved over to the national stage and got to see Belle and Quinn play a concert, and that was very cool. They are a Haitian sister group, and they were just like ethereal. They were fantastic.
Aren't they twins? I have been saying that, but maybe they just really look similar.
Yeah, I'm not 100% confident on that.
But siblings, either way, they do like a really smooth jazz. Also, in the pre-episode, we were talking about how they always like to feature female artists, and it was nice because we got to see I think it's a sextet that they put together. There's 6 of them up there, and they all seemed quite young, all women, and they did a very good job of showcasing each one of them. Like the band says, Bill and Quinn say that, like, well, we want to showcase other women, and they do that very literally in how they integrate solos for everyone.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see everyone gets their turn, and a really well done session will often allow people to kind of have their own solos and that kind of thing. So I think it was really cool to get to see everyone work together like that.
Yeah, because then after that, they were in a session. It was Bella and Quinn and their band with a few members of Cymande. Not all of them were there, but they are. It's an older group, so I forgive people for taking a half day on that one because they are performing a few different things. Alberta.Our was there as well. He's someone that I wasn't as familiar with. I think I'd only heard a couple of songs, but I'm glad we got to see him here.
Yeah, it was a real party session, honestly. There was a lot of just like kind of constant playing, and everyone was getting in on it. And I think like half the crowd was up dancing the entire time.
I think the most interesting thing on this one was that a lot of the members of Cymande, like, they put out their first album in 1972, and a lot of the members of Bill and Quinn's band probably were born in the last 25 years. They were born in the 2000s. So there's generations on there. And I really liked seeing how the older men from Cymande and Alberta.Our's band were sharing the stage with these much younger women, and the back and forth between them of, because you're seeing generations play together now.
Yeah, and I think that there's a good chance that some of these musicians are inspired by the musicians that they got to play with. So I think that's very cool.
And I'm not sure if it was the finale, but one of the things that I really remembered from that was they did a version of No Woman, No Cry, and Alberta.Our was singing, and he went in and out of a few different languages, but that's a song that, of course, everybody knows, so that was a fun one.
Yeah, hearing it sung in many different languages was a very cool experience, and you just get to see like how versatile all these musicians are, and they can all play. They can hear these songs that everyone knows, and just like kind of all join in together.
And then we had a big rain delay. I think some things continued into the rain, but then when the lightning and thunder started, we took shelter under just the Big Rock tent. That can be a commercial for Big Rock right there. You drank a lot of traditional, and we sheltered in that tent.
Yes, it was so rainy, and I was lucky that everyone saw my walking boot and allowed me to be in the highest part of the tent so that I stayed nice and dry. But yes, we were in those tents for a little bit, and it was really coming down. It was probably one of the hardest rains I've seen at Folk Fest.
I know friends from the tropics will be like, well, it's not that bad, but that is as hard of rain as we get here without it being something more than rain. So it was, it was wet. I'm very wet.
Hello, everyone. We are back after our rain delay. We saw Les Mamans de Congo, and if you listen to our pre-episode, you know all about them, but they took some of their traditional music and made it their own, and it was absolutely amazing. I didn't know what I was expecting, but they put on a whole show. They had dancers, they had so many traditional instruments, and they just like blew everyone away, I think.
It was the biggest surprise for a lot of people, I think. There was a lot of people, because they're not terribly well known here, of course, and people walked away loving that set. And we listened to a bit, and so I kind of knew what to expect, but it was more of everything. The songs that I had liked the most were the kind of more gentle songs, the more melodic ones. And in the live show, when there was like the hip hop portions, she rapped with like a lot more ferocity than I had seen on the album. So that was great. And the fact that they're bringing folk dance into it, because all of their songs are telling a story. And I thought that was just through the language, but then when you see it on stage, they are enacting a story. They're acting out with folk dance stories of like thunder and rain and floods and all sorts of different things. So it was a lot more theatrical than I was expecting, and was just fantastic.
Yeah, when we were in the photo pit watching the first 3 songs, when we came out, I was walking next to a couple of photographers who were like, that was incredible. Like, I had no idea. And I think we all walked out thinking that, and they just were so great. And then we had the pleasure of seeing Los Lobos, and there was so much Oilers merch in the crowd tonight. We danced and sang along to La Bamba, and they were just a party. That was a good party band.
It was great, and I think people who know Los Lobos often know the big covers, but they were doing some cumbia stuff that, you know how we love that. It's hard to overstate the importance of the song La Bamba, because like the movie, Richie Valens' movie, the biopic La Bamba, was one of the first pieces of culture that I was aware of, that there was a movie and a song, and at the time I was like, I didn't know that it was real. I didn't know that Richie Valens was a real person, but I remember when that movie came out and how big it was. And it's hard to overstate the love of that song in Edmonton over the last couple of years as well.
And then Los Lobos brought out Steve Earle for a little bit, but then Steve Earle came out and is currently playing a full set. And I don't really know like Steve Earle very well, so we weren't 100% sure how big of a deal he was, but oh man, everyone is real keyed up for Steve Earle tonight.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that knows his big songs and don't know a lot more than that, but Calgary is a town that loves Steve Earle even more than the fun we had. It was pretty awesome to see a lot of people, a lot of women of a certain age who were losing their mind over Steve Earle, and yeah, great audience reception, so you know he's doing well.
Yeah, and just going and dancing and watching everyone's excitement is always kind of fun to these bands, the people who are right up at the barricade. And I don't know, it just felt very folky and like a perfect folk evening and a great way to cap off the evening.
And the rain held off for most of the time after that big downpour. It's been pretty good. The grounds are muddy. They are very muddy, but as long as it's not actively raining, we can deal with that. Let's hope for the best and see you tomorrow.
Hello, everyone. We are podcasting from Highway 2 on our way through Leduc.
Well, it's Monday morning now, so it's 1 a.m. We're driving. We had a full day of festing. I'm changing lanes. Sam's on sound duty today, so that's fun.
I'm in charge.
And like today was a day where we were talking a lot about the pacing of the festival, because days 1 and 2 are smaller days. And at the end of both Thursday and Friday, we both said, like, there's so much, we've done so much, I can't believe we're not even halfway through things yet. But then I always caution Sam that we say this every festival, and then Saturday and Sunday fly by, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, we were feeling like we'd already lived an entire 4-day festival at the end of Friday, and then we realized, yeah, we have 2 full days, and they felt like 1 full day, and I'm a little sad that it's over. So we started our day with the stage 3. We really wanted to see Montano West, and we managed to catch about half of the session beforehand. We saw Bellin Quinn, Les Mamans de Congo, and Chris Pierce, and they put on like an incredible show. It was I was a little sad we didn't see the beginning of it, but it was just like a total party first thing in the morning.
Yes, in the summertime, and then every time, oh, through the summertime,
We had seen a couple of them already, so we weren't getting there super early, but I'm glad we did catch it. Like in all of these sessions when they are kind of handing off songs between them, and there were a few different French-speaking people up there, so you could hear them often in French singing about how they are now handing it off to this person. Here's the time signature, take it away. And they were doing things that way, and that was a lot of fun. And Chris Pierce was a guy that I hadn't seen before, but he jumped right in, and I liked what he brought as well.
Yeah, it was interesting to see these artists kind of work together and, like you said, passing along the song. And it was just like, it was a great way to start off the day.
And when we were talking about the pacing of things, today was a bit of a different day. And I think that can be the tip that we give to people, is doing Folk Fest in your way.
Yeah, so since I'm dealing with an injury and my ankle after 3 days of walking around that site, and it rained a lot. I don't know if we talked about that, but it rained so much over the 2 days previous that the whole site was just like fully mud. So it made it pretty treacherous walking around for me. So today I chose to find a table in the beer garden that was right across from the stage. And I kind of parked myself there pretty much all day until main stage started. So I was able to kind of take everything in and be close to everything, but still be comfortable and not have to sit on the ground and get wet every time I needed to get up. So you got to do what works for you and pick your battles, I think was my mantra this weekend.
And I'm someone who likes to do a lot, so I got to go up and shoot photos for everything and then go out and hopefully record some good audio. But you know, if you've been listening to this podcast before, we're normally a studio show, so audio on the go is not our strong suit, but hopefully that all works out.
Yeah, so then we saw Montuno West perform. They are an Afro-Cuban jazz band, and they were just like a dance party the whole time. I don't think I stopped moving the entire time that they were on stage, and they were just so dynamic. The lead singer started in the crowd and walked up and was like high-fiving people and trying on people's hats. It was a pretty fun way to start.
They're a lovable group. They were doing that, the African-inspired Cuban music, and one of the guys, he had this electric upright bass, and I was trying to keep track of my instrument of the festival, and that's in the running. But the singer, Israel, he's just a charismatic guy, right? So that start off, it was just something different, and I think a lot of people watching this show maybe weren't familiar with them, but this is someone that they are going to remember.
Yeah, and then we got to see another session right after that. We saw the Dust Collectors Fruition, Jake Valand, and the Sturgeon River Boys play, and it was one that I didn't see up close, but maybe Indy can tell us about what this session looked like.
Also, I didn't get as close as I did for everything else because usually this was on a smaller stage over by where there's food and the beer gardens, and I had been just walking up and taking photos and sitting in the front whenever I felt like it. But this group, all of them had their concerts already, so they had a lot of fans either from before the festival or they'd won people over. But there was a lot of similar, maybe not similar sounds, but a lot of complementary sounds and the country and roots and bluegrass stuff that was going on here. So we got to hear the song, I think it's Jake Valand's band that does the, what's it called? Do you remember? Alberta on My Mind or something like that?
It's just called Alberta.
Maybe it was because of all those years that I lived far, far away, that songs about my home are few and far between, and I like when I hear one, and that's a good one.
But yeah, it sounded like everyone there was just having a great time, and I was having a great time, sitting in a chair, feeling comfortable. And we got to see Aladdin Karofi.
So that's what I did stay up at the front for most of the show. So I listened to him a bit, and I liked it. I put it on in the background a lot when we were cooking or whatever, and that might sound dismissive, and maybe I was, but he put on a great show. If there was someone that won me over the most, maybe of the entire festival, it's probably Aladdin Karufi.
Did anyone stay up too late? Be honest. Anyone have an early morning? We had an early morning. It wasn't great for us. But Gary pulled right through, didn't you, baby? Got a slice of pepperoni pizza, and he's good to go. Look at him. Handsome. Anyway, this song's about staying up too late. It's called Daytime. Nobody seems to stay out all night long anymore. Nobody but a crazy fool who sleep all day, way past noon. Nobody stays past closing time. Nobody but me. But this is my philosophy that daytime's for sleeping. It's easier for sure. It's funny how when you were here, it never dawned on me before that night times for crying and trying to pretend that we're in love all over again. Give it up for the handsomest man on the festival grounds.
Is a very charming stage presence, and I want to describe the music as like a lounge act, but that also sounds dismissive because he's bringing a lot more to it. They're all young looking guys, so I assume they're not terribly experienced, even if they've had a good run in these few years, but they were commanding of the stage. They seemed like they had done this before. Aladdin, the singer himself, had some mic issues, but he was swapping out mics just between words. He seemed very comfortable up there. The banter and all of that I really liked. I think they're based out of Edmonton, actually, so we'll probably be able to get to see them if we so choose. And my suggestion for you out there, if you want a date night, go to one of his shows. Picture like the best case wedding band, when they're playing What You Wanna Dance To, and they're charming and funny. That's what they are. Maybe that sounds dismissive as well, saying they're like a wedding band, but like an ideal one. They are a lot of fun, and I would love to go dancing to this for a night.
Yeah, it was definitely, even in the beer garden, people were clapping at the end of songs, and like people were engaged really far back. So after Aladdin, we got to see another session with Tamar, Ilana, and Ventanas, Digging Roots, and did you find out how to pronounce, is it Tinge or is it Tinge?
It's Tinge, a band called Tinge. Yeah. So Digging Roots is someone that you wanted to see, but we had there were just too many things to see when their concert was on, but you got to hear some of them this way.
Yes, and that was fantastic. I was definitely dancing in my seat during this one.
Actually, you know why we didn't get to see it?
Why?
They were canceled. They were the ones that were canceled when the storm came last night.
Oh, yeah.
So they didn't have their own show. And we got to see them here. They played a new song called AK-47. So you know what we have? We have an exclusive. This song hasn't played anywhere yet, but you can hear it right now.
Love into a gun.
they brought that kind of heavier blues rock to things. I was all about that guitar playing. And this is another one where it was just, I feel like I say this a lot too, but it was really powerful in the messaging, in the community that all these Indigenous artists had created on stage together.
Yeah, and that was just a little bit of festival magic. And this was actually a session that I got out of my chair and walked up to watch from the back row. And yeah, it just seemed like such a cohesive group, even though they probably hadn't played together. So that was pretty neat.
And I absolutely didn't cry when they had their stories about hair being forcefully cut at residential schools and things like that. Timar Alana and Ventanas was her backing band, I think. She puts on a great dancing show. Actually, you know what? It's the end of day 4. I've been driving for a long time, so I don't remember if I have audio of it. They put on a great show that uses kind of stepping and stomping as percussion in that dance, so that was a lot of fun. And then the singer from the band Tinge, whose name I've already forgotten. I apologize for that. But she had some powerful words before as well. And then she had this really fun song about missing her mom and missing her dog. Do you remember that one?
Yes, and I thought that was such a fun song.
She got everyone singing. I like that one too.
And then it was the end of session stages, and we got to see Alberta.Our play a concert, and it was fantastic. We got to see him a few times throughout the festival, and just always a good show.
And he's a really nice guy. He's very likable. We ran into him, and he was thanking us for our work. And I was like, you're the hardest working guy out here. You've been doing so many sessions. He's always on the go. Eric and George got to come out today, and thanks guys for letting us stay at your house. But Eric was saying like, oh yeah, I've heard of this guy. I think I remember seeing him at a folk fest like 15 years ago, and he does the circuit. Alberta.Our works, and his set was great. He's often up there just with a guitar, but there's something in the guitar. I don't know my instruments terribly well, but it's not a hollow body, but he can do percussion on it. So it's electric, but there must be some sort of like percussion plate or sensor or something, because he would hit on that for his percussion. And then he had a floor kick as well, so a drum that way. And then he would also loop a guitar, like a rhythm guitar, that he would record and then loop and then play lead guitar over it. So it's just him up there, but it sounds like he has a full backing band.
Dine, 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 dine. Foolish, foolish, foolish. This is the dine, 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 dine. Foolish, foolish, foolish. This is the dine, 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 dine. Foolish, foolish, foolish. This is the dine, 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 dine.
His sound ranged from these really soft, peaceful, melodic pieces to some that got everyone up and dancing. And if you've ever been to a Alberta.Our show, you know he's not going to let you sit down. He's going to get you up forcibly, and he got everybody up and they stayed up.
Yeah, it's rare to see a Alberta crowd standing for like an entire hour set. And he had these people dancing. And I just have to say, Alberta.Our did 4 sessions and a concert. And it's just amazing to see an artist come and want to do so many things and just be part of the festival. It's always like really heartwarming to see artists who really want to be there. It's not just another gig.
That's what I'm saying. The hardest working man on festival grounds. Although there's a lot of those volunteers that maybe.
So we took a little dinner break, but we did get to see the first 3 songs of Lalam from the photo pit, and they were some cumbia fantasticness. Wow, I'm tired. This is not great.
I thought you were going to go with it and you could say that was Cumbia Fantastica, but you did not. They were one of my top 3 acts that I was most excited to see, probably, and lived up to it, but not in the way that I was expecting, because if you've listened to them, you'd expect like a real tight band, real sharp on their instrumentation, and that was the case, but I was picturing them to be rather stoic. Their music is very smooth and on the softer end a lot of the time. And I was expecting them to be pretty still but precise, because that's what their music sounds like a lot of the time. And they brought not the opposite, because they have that precision. They are very talented that way, but they brought so much energy and vibrancy to it. I couldn't tell like which person to look at, and there's oftentimes only 3 and then a 4th guy on slide guitar that came in. So it's not like they have this big crew and dancers like Les Mamans du Congo or something like that. But each one of them commanded their section of this stage. I was joking that they were all depictions of different types of masculinity up there, because whatever gender they are into, I'm sure they do quite well.
They were a group of handsome men for sure.
They were all like real handsome in different ways, and like different, like kind of macho types, but all real different. So their bass player had like this like shiny black hair and was spinning that upright bass and was just a whirlwind of energy. They had this jacked, handsome drummer who was playing with one stick in one hand, so they could do like the Congo style on one hand and then more of a Western drumming on the other. It was great. It was fantastic. I was not disappointed, and it was nice that a band I've listened to that much was that surprising.
Yeah, they each had their own little show going on, and while we were in the photo pit, I was listening to people talk behind me, and they were all like, "What's that instrument? Ooh, oh, they're dancing!" And like everyone was so excited, and I just love when a crowd really gets into it, even if they don't know who these people are or like what they're about to do. I love when a crowd really gets into it.
And I love when someone lifts a full upright bass over his head.
For quite a while, actually. It was very impressive. So after Lalam, O.C. Elliott came on, and she is a quieter, kind of more singer-songwriter type music. And I really enjoyed it. It was definitely a change of pace, because it was a lot quieter than Lalam. I enjoyed her. Did you enjoy her?
Is O.C. Elliott like the name of the woman? I thought it was like the name of the band, because it seems like they sing half and half. Either way, you know what? This is one of the more popular bands for sure. There's a lot of people there to see them. And it's probably the single act that I had the most recommendations of. Like, oh, make sure you go see O.C. Elliott. And sometimes the bigger ones are the ones that kind of fall through the cracks for me, because I'm finding all of those, my little niches that I love. So O.C. Elliott, I hadn't done my research on and just really enjoyed it. I feel like for the end of the main stage, And at 1:20 a.m., I have so much less to say, and other than like, you know what, I liked it, and everyone else did too.
So after O.C. Elliott, we got to see the final performance of the festival, which was Cake. And I know 2 Cake songs. They didn't play either of them while we were there, but we did get to go photograph, and they put on a good show. There was a t-shirt cannon, it was bubbles, there was a big mirror ball, and it was a spectacle, and everyone in the crowd was so excited about Cake. But what did you think?
I think this is another one where I can judge the success of their performance by the reaction of the audience around me. I think for these last 2, like I was saying, it was day 4, is the end of day 4. I don't think I got audio for either of them. I do think I got some good photos, but even then I wasn't moving around like I was. But everyone else really loved Cake. I think I was just so tired by that point that I think I only know 4 of their songs. But they did do a cover of a song that I really love. And I can't even remember now when we talked about it. I think it was from a Wong Kar-wai movie, but yeah, it was in 2046. The English version is Perhaps, 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 and Cake sang that. So that was one I knew and something that I was not expecting to hear. But maybe a lot of people know that as a Cake song and not as an old Spanish song.
Yeah, so Cake, I think, was a lot of people's highlight of the festival. But yeah, I'm sad that it's over. I'm so excited that we got into the car and drove, and we're about to get into our own bed. Any last thoughts?
And we just missed another rainstorm. It's been raining on and off the last 3 days. The rainiest festival I've probably been to in Alberta. And you know what? We're gonna sleep on it. We're gonna come back right away to wrap up our second Folk Fest, the 46th annual Calgary Folk Music Festival.
All right, that sounds a little better. Back in our studio to do a little recap. And if this is your first episode, this is how we usually sound, because we're not out in the field recording stuff so much.
Usually it's not chaos. But it was fun chaos.
It really was.
It was super fun.
So I think to recap, we'll probably have maybe some favorite things we did that we didn't get to talk about, and also some tips.
Yeah, tips.
Let's start off with, I want to know, what was your favorite food of the festival? Because we ate all pretty much of our meals there, because we went as soon as things opened, almost. In the first couple hours,
yeah.
And we stayed till the end every night, so we weren't leaving. But the good thing is, if you did want to leave, you're within walking distance of a lot.
Exactly, yes. It is truly in like the heart of the city and very walkable. I think my favorite thing I ate at the festival was bow tie pizza.
Ah, man, bow tie pizza.
It was like, there was a point in the day on Saturday where we were both just like, I don't want to eat, I need to eat, because we've been here for like 3 hours already and we should have some food. And then we were like, okay, well, let's just get a slice of pizza. And then we went back 3 more times.
Bow tie pizza is just a solid pizza regardless of if it's at a festival or not. I would have been happy with that anywhere. And your expectations are a little lower in a festival environment, but maybe they shouldn't be, because food trucks are good now.
Food trucks are good now. Yeah, I feel like in the past you might have expected lower quality at a festival because you're not cooking in your industrial sized kitchen at your restaurant. But most of the food that we had was fantastic.
I think overall, festival food in general, all sorts of things like this, is better. Because I used to complain because it was too expensive and wasn't very good. Mm-hmm. And I still think it's too expensive. But then when I look at it, it's not more expensive than if I was not at a festival.
True.
Everything is just more expensive now.
Everything's just more expensive now.
And food at festivals and stuff is actually increasing at a slower rate than at restaurants.
Yeah, actually.
And the quality is increasing at a much faster rate. While a lot of restaurants, I think, are going down quite a bit. So I thought most of the food I had throughout this was at a similar price point and of similar or better quality than if I was at not like a great restaurant, but a chain restaurant.
You know what? An $8 slice of pizza that you know is good and that you're really going to enjoy and that, is going to satisfy you isn't a bad thing.
And also, we didn't have to pay for tickets.
Exactly.
Thanks again,
Thank
Calgary
you.
Folk Fest. Please have us back again next year because we want to keep doing this forever. Food-wise, I had to give another shout-out to my Viet to go.
Oh, yes.
That same guy I see all over the place. When we go to Millerville for the
Yes,
Christmas
it's the
market,
same guy.
it's the same guy I buy my sandwich from there, and I got another one from him here. So always a staple of my Calgary or Calgary-adjacent experiences.
Yes, absolutely.
What was your drink of the festival?
Traditional from Big Rock. It is a brown ale from Big Rock, and I drank it pretty much the entire festival. I did branch out a little bit every so often, but I just kept coming back to it because it was a colder festival and it's a darker beer, so it felt like the right drink for me.
Yeah, usually we don't have trad much at festivals because it's hot out.
Yeah,
but
if it's
on
30
a rainy
degrees,
festival,
you don't want to trad.
traditional is the beer for it.
Yes.
I didn't really drink much alcohol-wise,
No.
but I think my drink of the festival then is the free sample milkshake that, the Alberta Dairy Board?
Yeah, milk.
Just milk.
Just the
They were
milk.
giving out free milkshakes, little ones, and it was fantastic. I had that strawberry milkshake twice. Do you have a best moment of the festival? It's probably going to be a couple.
Oh, that's a hard one because we did and saw so many cool things. Probably being in the photo pit for the first show of the weekend and being like, yep, I remember how fun this is.
Just getting back into
and
it.
just feeling like I was back at Folk Fest. That was pretty great. And then I think just interacting with people and getting to see the festival, because I feel like walking around with a camera you get kind of a different look at how other people are doing the festival, and I think that was kind of neat to get to see everybody. I know that's not one moment, but just to get to see everyone enjoy it in different ways, I guess.
It's hard to narrow it down, but one for me was the Cymande show in the rain, because if you're ever at an outdoor festival, when it rains, you do one of two things. You either go for cover, or because everybody is moving, a lot of people move out of the space, and then the people who are committed to being in the rain can go right up front, and it's less of a sitting and watching atmosphere, and it's a right up there and dancing one if you commit to the rain. And I definitely committed to the rain because it's one of my favorite bands of all time, playing some of my favorite music ever. So being right up front and dancing in that was so much fun. And then also interviewing the members from Dengue Fever and hearing stories like that. Because we never started this with any aspirations of being journalists or have any sort of interviewing skills, but doing that and hearing especially the one story about Escape from the Dragon House, and I just love history in any context. So when it's this band telling about these stories that happened to them during the formation of this band that I've been listening to for so long, that was pretty big. There were so many performances, but we don't need to go over those because I guess that's what we did.
You
This
can
whole
hear
podcast.
it on our daily recaps
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I agree. Getting to talk to people that I've heard all their music of is always kind of a thrill.
We were also talking a lot about our favorite instruments of the festival.
Yeah.
What stood out to you?
There were some very cool guitars. I don't have any specific, and I feel like you're going to get real specific about it. But
You know I am.
there were some very, very cool guitars. And I also don't come from a guitar background. So I never really got into musical instruments, but I can appreciate how cool guitars look. And there were some very, very cool country and western looking guitars at this festival that looked like they belonged on the Opry stage. And I really thought that was very cool. What were your favorite musical instruments of the festival?
Usually I go with those obscure ones that we see much less in Western music, but I think the best two that I saw were both just straight up guitars. First, Zach Holtzman from Dengue Fever plays this guitar that has a tiny, tiny body on it, and it's metal. And somebody else referred to it as a mix between a Strat and a 57 Chevy.
Yeah.
It's this like industrial looking tiny metal body on a 6-string guitar. That was pretty cool. And then also, I don't know what it was, but is it Belle or Quinn of Belle and Quinn that plays guitar?
Oh, I'm not sure.
The guitar playing sister.
Yeah.
She had this Gibson guitar that was just gorgeous in a very classic sense of a gorgeous instrument. And then every upright bass is always
Yes, I was just about
cool.
to say the bass player from Lalam did
That one was
some
good.
incredible bass work with that bass, and just like was bench pressing it at one point.
Yeah,
Like,
just lifting it over his head.
It
That
was a
fun.
whole bass show, and I really appreciated that because it was very, very cool.
And then who was it that had that big white electric upright
the
bass?
white one.
Man, we see so much so quick that I need to go over my photos and kind of
I need
solidify
to
those
take
memories because they all blend.
Notes, I think, going into Edmonton, because I feel like I've forgotten so much about this festival already.
I take a lot of notes, but you can just listen to this and then you'll remember it all.
Perfect.
Well, any final thoughts or tips or anything to give the audience?
Well, I have to give a shout out to Calgary Folk Festival just for being so accessible. And I think we talked about this earlier in the episode, but I was in a walking boot and it was so muddy and it was just like could have been really dangerous. And they did a really impressive job of putting boards down where it was like impossibly muddy and people needed to get through. The staff was there like using, I don't know, big suction machines to get some of the standing water gone. It's just a very walkable site to begin with. So I felt totally safe. There was only a few dicey moments in the mud where I was a little worried about falling. But I just have to say, like, way to build an incredibly accessible folk fest, because that was not a worry for me after like the first day.
So many of my favorite things about this festival specifically have to do with the location and organization, especially coming from Edmonton, which is fantastic, but our festival is so
It's such a
big.
huge site. I'm a little
It
worried.
is a very long walk from one stage to the other, and it is almost entirely dirt and mud and grass. While here, there's a lot of paved paths because it is in a park, so you can take advantage of those if it's an accessibility issue like it was for you. And then also, it just has shade.
There's
Which
so much
you don't
shade.
realize how big of a deal that is until those hot days or in the rain,
Or in
where
the rain,
there's
we
places to go.
go
in
under a
Edmonton,
tree.
there's just not.
No.
If it's hot or if it's rainy, you're standing in the heat or standing in the rain and deal with it. And we compare it to Edmonton a lot because we are going there right away. But its biggest strength is also one of the things that makes it the most difficult. There's so many people at Edmonton's Folk Fest. This one, you can buy tickets the day of. Tickets are pretty reasonably priced.
Yeah, I think it's a similar price to Edmonton.
And you can get to things.
You can get to things, yeah.
We ate every meal there. We went to music the entire time. We didn't have to stand in lines very often at all. For beer, you would wait behind maybe 2 people.
I think the biggest line there was like maybe 8 people in line, and I realized that they were doing the classic thing of only going to the first 3 lines. So then there was a whole open line, and I think I waited behind 2 people. So yeah, that was like the busiest the beer garden got.
And we ate at pretty busy times a lot of the time. And you have to wait a little, but it wasn't extreme. Calgary, I guess, is a smaller festival.
It
But
is.
it doesn't seem like a small festival
No.
by any stretch. It's just very well done.
It's very well done.
I look forward to it every year now.
I also think that Calgary could probably up the amount of people, like the amount of tickets that they sell, but they don't.
But it's our advantage that they don't.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more comfortable.
It really is. Yeah, no, it really is. And it's a beautiful site. It's kind of cool to be like, oh, I'll see you on the island.
Yeah. And outside of main stage, you can pretty much just walk up to any stage and get a very good seat.
With a very few exceptions, yeah, you can just be right there, right up first face to face with these artists. And I think that's like such a neat change from other folk fests.
So yeah, go check out the Calgary Folk Music Festival. If it's something you've never done before, I know a lot of these seem very daunting. It seems like a big ordeal, and I felt that way going into Edmonton. And Calgary's not.
No.
Go for a day if you feel like you don't have to do the whole thing. Get a feel for things. Support a lot of artists that you probably wouldn't see otherwise. Listen to things that you don't know about. You're going to find something great. I probably found my favorite albums of 2025 when we do that end of the year podcast, when we recap our picks of the year. I bet it's going to be something from one of these two festivals, because I don't listen to a lot of new music, and this is forcing me to, and I'm all the better for it.
Yes, absolutely. Some of our new favorite artists released music in the last year, so we're set up for best of 2025 for sure.
So far, Bria Salmena, maybe my album of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, so if you want more tips, feel free to send us a message, and I'm just full of tips.
Well, I guess that's it for our second Calgary Folk Music Festival. Please have us again for our third next year.
And a big thank you to all the media tent volunteers, because they treated us so well. They made sure we had everything we needed, and we're just like so nice to work with, and took us seriously like real media people.
Yeah, they didn't know that it's just this.
Yeah, and shout out to my girl Charmaine, because she's my favorite.
So many.
So many. No, if I didn't mention them by name, I just know that I really appreciate you. But Charmaine, and she's like, I know who you are.
Because she was there with us a lot.
She was there both years with us, and I reintroduced myself, and she's like, I know who you are. I was like, oh, okay, great.
Well, until next year, I guess we'll see you on the island.
See you on the island.
Bye, Calgary.
Bye.